do they do? Grow. And animals grow too, right? So I was going to show you guys an egg hatching, but I can't, the video's not working, so do you guys think that this is good? Yeah. We can kind of see that it starts as an egg, and then there's small babies, and they get bigger until they can leave the nest. Yeah. So let's talk about what other kind of things grow. Huh? Want us to come back to you? Avery?
Leaves grow.
Leaves grow. What do they start off as? They start off as, what was that word when we read buds, that's right, and then they grow. So what else? Tacey? Humans grow. And Nora? Trees grow. Andrew? Fruits and vegetables grow. What do fruits and vegetables start out as?
Seeds.
They start off as seeds, but once they're seeds and they grow into the trees or the bush, what do some of them start off as before they become fruit and vegetables? Honey? Andrew, do you know? Yeah, they start off as buds because some of them, like apples, do you guys remember when we talked about apples? Yeah. They start off as seeds, but they start off as flowers, and then the flower petals all fall off, and our leaves grow, and then what happens? The apples grow. Do you guys remember that? Yeah.
The apples or other fruit grow on the tree.
Yes, they grow. And then how do we start again? How do we get new apples? Andrew, do you remember?
We plant them.
Yeah, and how do we plant them? Where do we get
from the apples.
Oh, so what do we get from the apples?
Seeds.
We get the seeds from the apples and we plant them and it grows again. So you guys see how seeds grow and how animals grow the same, right? Because we start small and we get bigger. Sorry?
My dad has watermelon tree seeds.
Oh, so you guys growing watermelons?
Yeah, we're going to have lots of watermelons now.
So maybe you could start taking pictures now, and you could take a picture of the seed, and then when the plant starts growing, you could take a picture of when it starts to bud, and then it gets bigger, and then you could take pictures all the way up till it becomes a watermelon, right?
Yeah, and also I can grab one watermelon, take the seed out, and if I want more, I can just
That's right.
plant it.
That's right.
And new watermelon buds will grow.
My friend actually ripped off a part of a plant. I'm like, don't rip that off. That's part of a plant, and that's nature.
Yeah, it's nature.
And you're like, oh well. And she didn't even that.
So we talked about plants growing and animals growing. What is it called when we have two similar things and we are talking about how they're similar? It's called, remember we did it with our hula hoops? It's called, Tacey, do you remember?
No.
It's called comparing. Do you guys remember that? Yeah, comparing. And then let's talk about, what is it called when something's different? When we're talking about how they're different. It's called contrasting. Compare and contrast. So we talked about how plants and animals, like when they're small, they're different because animals don't have roots, right? Yeah, we can move. And what else is difference between plants and animals? Honey? Andrew?
Plants don't lay eggs.
Plants don't lay eggs. What do they have instead?
Seeds.
Seeds. Siddharth?
And plants don't have legs.
Plants don't have legs. Avery?
Plants don't have heads.
Plants don't have heads.
The flowers are the heads.
Kind of. something that maybe
Plants don't have tails.
they don't have tails. But so even let's think about different animals. So we talked about birds and we talked about foxes, right? So let's compare these, or contrast these. So what do foxes and birds have different on the outside? Jameson?
Birds have wings and fox does.
Foxes don't have wings, that's right. Ohani?
Fox have tails and birds don't have tails.
I think birds have tails. We can kind of see a tail right here, but that would be, yeah, tail feathers, that would be comparison. Avery, can you think of something?
Birds don't have birds have beaks and fox doesn't.
Yeah. Let's think of something on the outside right here that is different.
I know.
Andrew?
Birds don't have pointy ears.
Birds don't have pointy ears. You have birds' ears that lay flat on their heads.
Some birds like falcons, or other kinds of birds don't have red fur like foxes do.
Yeah, so foxes have fur and birds have what? Feathers. So animals, even though we grow up the same, we can have different skin types, right? Because do we have feathers?
No.
No, but are we covered in fur? No.
We're covered in skin.
We have skin, but we have hair too.
Yeah.
So,
Really small.
so
I have hair right here.
so what's another difference between foxes
I have a lot
and
of hair.
birds?
I can see.
Maybe were they
Eggs.
eggs?
Foxes are mammals.
But
Foxes.
we had, Siddharth
Yeah,
told
no,
me and
that's
Andrew
okay.
told me something. Siddharth, you want to tell me about the platypus that we talked about in computer lab?
Yeah, a platypus I made. Platypuses are mammals, and platypus is the only mammal that lays eggs. So that reminds me that fox might be a mammal, so it doesn't lay eggs.
Yeah, so there's different kind of what's called species. So a fox is a mammal.
Also a hedgehog lays eggs.
Oh yes, Andrew told me a hedgehog laid eggs. And I didn't know that. And anteaters. And I had no idea. Did any of you guys know that?
No. Yes, I
You knew that? Well, you guys are all teaching me things, huh?
You're supposed to be teaching us.
Yeah, but you guys are teaching me things. Huh? That's interesting, because I don't know everything, but you guys can teach me things. Yeah? Yeah?
Actually, a platypus is the only mammal
A platypus is? Okay, well maybe we'll have to look it up. Okay? But, so, what we've learned today is how plants, they start off as seeds and they grow, and we've talked about foxes, and I think this, I don't know what kind of bird this is, looks maybe like a robin, but we talked about, oh that's true, so we talked about how
I know what that is.
animals start
That's
as babies and they grow too, so
an eagle.
as an eagle, and even birds, even though they're not the same as foxes, they start small and they grow too. So we come. So what did we do, you guys? We compared and contrasted plants and animals. Right? Ohani, do you have something? Flowers are starting to grow, yeah, because it's springtime. Jameson?
Me and my friend had watermelons in my friend's backyard, and we dug holes and then put the seeds in and buried them up and gave them some water, and now we're waiting for them to grow.
Yeah. So now we're gonna learn some more about animals, but I think hold on one second. talked about, so later what we're going to be talking about is how different types of animals, so we have baby bears and they grow up, but also, who knows what this is?
Caterpillar. A monarch caterpillar.
Uh-huh. So later we're going to be talking about how caterpillars grow too, and they're what's called a life cycle. Has anybody heard that word before?
Me.
Raise your hand if you've heard that word before. Anyone heard life cycle?
I've heard that.
So that's what we're starting to learn about, is the life cycle. Okay, so we've learned about life cycle of plants, Jameson, and we've talked a little bit about life cycle of birds and some animals, and so that's what we're going to start learning about in science now, okay?